Hey friends, welcome back to A Culture of Inspiration, the podcast for artists sponsored by Counterculture DIY. I'm your host, Sarah Brown, and together with my husband, I own Counterculture DIY, where we serve artists by providing everything you need for your resin art, and we do it with a lot of heart. This season, you'll be hearing from other artists as they share their stories, their successes, triumphs, tragedies, failures, tips, and inspiration. Join me every Tuesday for a new episode. I can't wait for you to hear what we've got in store. Friends, I am so excited to be back in your ears. Last time we talked, I was just wrapping up CultureCon, our big event in Fayetteville, Arkansas, where I got to meet so many of you and finally hug you in person. And now we're settling into the fall and winter months, and I'm thinking about how to keep myself motivated and inspired as the dreary Missouri days are coming around. And have you ever felt like you're just getting a little bit stale with your art, or that you want to take that next step to do something new or different, but you're scared or intimidated or you lack the confidence? I have definitely felt that way. And if you ever have, I'd like to introduce you to today's guest, Meg Epps. Meg is truly someone who is fearless with her art, and she has been such an inspiration to me about how she keeps trying to level up her business. Meg is a brand ambassador for our company, Counterculture DIY, as well as for Craft Haven and some other companies. She is a unique and outstanding artist who has gone from crafter to seller to group owner, and now her most recent accomplishment, she's a Patreon group owner. I think you're going to love hearing what Meg has to share. She'll tell you about where she got started with her crafting, and then all of the steps that she's taken along the way from crafter to businesswoman to group owner to Patreon group owner. And the day that we sat down to do this interview, she was right on the cusp of launching her Patreon group with Sarah Pinnell. And you will hear that little bit of trepidation and uncertainty in her voice, but rest assured that the group has already started. It is going great, just like everything Meg does. She has done a wonderful job with it, and we will have links to all of that in the show notes in case you want to join her over at Maker Magic. But this is a great little peek into how it feels right before you take that big giant step that you're scared of. So let's go ahead and jump right into our conversation with Meg. Hi, Meg. Welcome. I am so excited that you're joining us on the podcast today.
I'm so excited. This is very exciting.
Yeah. So we're just going to jump right in. If anyone's been living under a rock and doesn't know who you are, they can definitely find you in our group all the time. You share so much. You are such a helper and teacher in our ccdiy group, and your art is all over the place with everything that we do. So why don't we just start with how long have you been doing resin art and tumblers, and what got you into it?
So I've been doing tumblers and resin art for 5 years now. And when I first started, it was a lot. Everyone else started. I wanted graphic t-shirts. Seeing how cute graphic t-shirts were everywhere. I was like, they're so expensive. I know I can make these cheaper. There's gotta be some way. So I researched, found the Cricut, joined the Facebook Cricut groups, and this is right when tumblers were starting to become like a real. And this is back when we were building our own turners, like PVC pipe turners, So they were starting to become popular, and I knew I wanted to do it, but I was very scared of epoxy because I knew that it was something that you really needed to be careful working with. There was safety, things you needed to do and all that. And so I really wanted to make sure I had done my research, prepared myself, and just the same way I did Cricut, I did research that for 6 months before I even bought one. So once funny thing is I was I don't know how to make a turner. And I had these surveillance cameras, and the neighbor was a handyman, and he had told me, like, because I didn't know how to do them, I wasn't going to do them. And he had said, if you wanted to sell this, I would buy them. And I was like, actually, if you want to build me this, and I sent him a YouTube video, I'll just give them to you. So he built me my first turner, and then me and my stepdad, who passed away 2 years ago, we built our next turner, and he went out, torch that I needed, and I still have the torch. He got me safety goggles and just, really supported the craft and was excited for me. And yeah, so that's how it begun. And as soon as I started, I was just trying it out. I was still learning about everything. And I did have a very bad allergic reaction to that one. And I broke out in bad rashes, but I kept going and, I kept trying different epoxies. And I want to say there was only one other epoxy I tried before I found counterculture. And I've been with you guys ever since. So yes, I got into resinart and tumblers, and I really, I was having fun with tumblers, but I really never, once I did, my first coasters, that's when I, really felt like an artist, awoke inside me. I had found my medium, as an artist. This is what I was good at. So, yeah, so I just started using more molds, doing stuff. Then it's been so fun to see it and grow and learn. Yeah, we're just keep on growing over here.
Well, yeah. And I think something about you that makes you stand out in the community is, at least to me, it seems like you're not afraid to try anything. Like you will try anything and give it a shot. And some people are over here in the sidelines like, oh, I'm so afraid to try X, whatever it is. And you're like, let's just try it. Let's just see what happens.
Because I feel like as an artist, we're always trying, and you can work with one medium, or you can try to work other mediums and, just really be open-minded and tie those other mediums into that medium that you're comfortable with. And that's what I've been, open to, because I really want to, you want to create something special. Every time you make a piece of art, you want it to be special. For me, I want it to be unique. And so, yeah, so you gotta try new things, and that's okay. There are so many tutorials out there. Just even in counterculture alone, there are so many tutorials that are showing you how to use all the products. So if you're scared, you have basically a how-to book right at your fingertips, and you don't have to dive right into it. That's the beauty about just having a sample size that, just test it out. And if it's not for you, then you don't have to do it, And I think I love trying new things as well, because I'm always looking for, I like to create realistic things, right? Like with my crystals and my journals and my geodes and stuff. So I really like to try new things because I'm trying to get a very realistic look. You don't know sometimes what is going to make that happen. My favorite products have been the metal flakes. They're amazing. The metal flakes are amazing.
That's one of my favorite things to work with too, because you can get that gilded look, that kind of aged, antiqued, golden bronze. I really like those too. Well, Meg, tell us about Lindley Grove. So when you kind of jumped from trying it out to selling things and kind of taking yourself public.
Lindley Grove, well, I knew the whole reason I had gotten into really doing this was because I knew I wanted to make t-shirts for myself, and also because it was going to be like a little side. So I always knew I was going to do a small business. My mom and my stepdad have ran their own businesses forever. My mom did catering and stuff like that. So I knew I could learn from them for running businesses and all that. So there was like no reason not to do this as a real, trying to do it as a real income rather than just a hobby, which it is totally a hobby. I probably, because I do work a full-time job, I probably do more selling than I do right now, but my passion is teaching. So Laneway Grove I thought a really long time about what my name was, what I wanted my business name to be. I don't know if you know this, but I had a sister and she passed away after she was born. She only lived 16 days old. Her name was Madison Lynn. And I wanted to do something in memory of her. And I also wanted a business that just sounded like pretty. So I kept trying to use like it in sentences like, oh, we just went shopping at Linley Grove. Like, I don't know, it just kind of rolled off the tongue and it just blossomed. And just like anything, it took me a very long time to commit to it. Yeah, so Linley Grove was kind of like my art, selling my art.
Well, I didn't know where that name came from, and I love it. I've always thought it was such a pretty name. And to know that it has that special connection to you and to your sister, that makes it even better.
It is. It's special. It's very special.
Well, and we were talking before we went live on recording here about your relationship with Sarah and how you guys work together on Curious Crafters. So why don't you tell us about Curious Crafters and how that got started? And then I think people will see how it's kind of led to where you're at now.
Curious Crafters, it was created as like a team effort. And it was one of the, people that it was just me and a very sweet lady named Carmen. And we started a group and it kind of blossomed. Like any Facebook group, we cared about what the members wanted, and the members wanted tutorials and things like that. So it kind of blossomed into a tutorial group, learning and growing and things like that. And the group is definitely more of a team effort. The group, there's never, like, I've always never tried to be like the leader or anything like that. Everything that we do is like group decision. We all have very open mind. We all we all have the same morals. We all want the same things for the group, and we want to be, and want to give back to the community and things like that. So if we don't all agree on something, we're open-minded to hearing what everyone thinks, and it just always ends up working out because we all have this same outlook for the group, and that's with just being kind and caring about our members and what we're giving back to the community. Curious Crafters is a wonderful group. I've been going and doing just one of the things we do there. One of the things I do is I have done unboxing. That's kind of how I started getting into going live in the first place, which I know that the girls over at Simply Handmade group. So I had joined that group, and that's where me and Carmen had. But Simply Handmade was kind of smaller when I first joined it, but there was so much support, and everybody was just so nice and supportful, and I had never felt like that, that support from like other people that have the same passions as people. So it was just very heartwarming and uplifting, and I knew I wanted to be a part of this community. So Amanda Hughes, who is the runner of that group, she, always encouraged us to go live. She would do giveaways for people that went live and things like that. So I started off small with just going live and doing an unboxing. And unboxings are a great way for people to get comfortable in front of the camera, but it's also prepping you to be able to be on social media and be like a content creator and work with them. So during these unboxings, you don't have to teach anybody. You don't have to know memorize anything. All you're doing is opening the box and you're reading and showing the products inside of it. And and when I first did that, there was such a great response and support that it made me want to continue going live. So I would do more unboxings and I'd more people, and I finally mustered up enough courage to do a tutorial. And that's just how that all begun. So when we went into Curious Crafters, I continued doing the process. So there has never been something that I've ordered or gotten in the mail that has not in that group. So everything that is in my room, they have seen. So yeah, so it's just a fun group.
Once you've established yourself the way that you have in the community, really a Patreon group was kind of a natural next step for you. So, why don't we talk about that, about how you linked up with Sarah and what you're offering in your group?
Like I said before, my real passion is more in the teaching. Like I love creating art, but I love teaching as well and helping others. So I was coming to do a Patreon group, so I needed a name for that. I just wanted something separate as far as my teaching and then my small business, my art selling. So my best friend Sarah Pinnell, that is going to be doing the Patreon group with me, her mind is like, her mind is just an amazing mind as far as when it comes to like marketing and just all that stuff. As when it comes to like thinking of businesses, small business names, graphics, just all that stuff. And so I've always had kind of a little bit of a style that I've done. I mean, the art that I create, when I first came on the scene as far as getting like some attention as far as people really wanting to learn, was probably when I started doing my crystal trade, my little crystal ring dishes and stuff. So a lot of it had to do with crystals and just whimsical and vintage and things like that. So magical things like that. So magic has always been like stars and the moon and and then we're makers, we're creators, we're artists. Maker movement on Instagram is strong. So she just the way her mind works, genius, and she helped and came up with it, and it sounded perfect, like nature magic, and that's what we're going with. I'm excited. I love the name and the logo and all of it. So
I think it's a perfect name for you. Like when I saw Maker Magic with Meg Epps of Lindley Grove, I was like, that is perfection. Like that just encapsulates you and your vibe and your aura perfectly.
yeah, I'm telling you, Sarah, because she does all that stuff. I hire her basically to help me with stuff. So, it's definitely a team effort, but it's definitely, her brain that helped me come up with the magic. So Lily Grove was all me. So me and Sarah were growing, and I definitely, like I said, teaching is my passion just right now, and I don't want to do much of that. About my future, and I'm going to my whole life outside of work is devoted to, my group and growing on social media and working with my brands, all that stuff. My whole life is. So why not really give it a shot at being like trying to make a real income? So me and Sarah, because like I said, she's my right hand man. And I also was thinking how I can really, because everybody in the income group, they offer something special, right? So what were we going to be able to, or what was I going to be able to offer something special? And I knew that I had the great creativeness with the resin and tumblers, but Sarah would be able to more strong, a little bit more stronger in the area where, and we're both strong. It's not like we're one more stronger. We really level each other out, and it's like so. And Sarah's also a graphic designer, so she background in creating graphics and doing editing and things like that, and working with the illustrator and things like that. And then I'm good at being in front of people and working with people and, working with clients. But I'm a little, that's what I can offer as far as us being a team and as far as like helping people grow in social media, because right now everything is about social media. So if you want to be I feel like if you want to be like a real teacher and you really want to do this, you're going to have to, gotta be out there so people can see you and what you're doing and creating and things like that. And the best way to do that nowadays is on social media. So I thought that would be something that would be really beneficial to all of people, is helping them grow not only in learning about resin art and tumblers, but also learning how to grow in social media and creating videos and editing and photography and all those other things come along with being on social media. So I think that's how we're going to be a little bit different from everybody else. And I hope so, at least, because everyone that even I'm part of some Patreon groups, they're so special. And so I'm really just want to give it a really good shot. And I hope that it will be enough for people. So we'll see.
I think anything you do is going to be extremely special. And I think you're right on the mark. Like, you have so much to share as far as helping people with their presence and getting out there on social media. You do such a great job. Of course, you do a ton of stuff for us, for our business and in our group, and always do such a great job. And then Sarah being able to teach people about the technical side of creating, that a lot of people don't have skills in that. I definitely don't. It's something that I really wish I did. So you've got some things there that not everybody has in their group. So it's going to be special, Meg. I guarantee it.
I just, and just like various chapters, our main focus is being able to really offer, whoever is going to be a part of the group, that, we just want to make sure we're doing as much as we can to help them and just really embody what we stand for. So excited.
Well, you guys have done such a good job in Curious Crafters. It's such a positive group, just such a great vibe over there. I check in on that group every day to see what people are sharing and posting. And it is a great group. So I think if you harness some of that energy and then the additions that you're talking about with your Patreon group, it is going to be fantastic. I'm so excited to see where you go with that.
Very much. I appreciate all the support that you guys show me and everything. Yes, you guys are amazing as well. I really appreciate all that.
Well, we appreciate you. We think you're pretty amazing too. Well, Meg, tell us what's next for you. We've got the Patreon coming up, and we will be sharing links to that in the show notes so that everybody listening can get in on that, because I know they're not going to want to miss out after hearing what you guys have to offer. What else do you have on the docket?
I'm really going to be on the Patreon group, but I'm still always going to be doing monthly tutorials in counterculture. So you can always see me live there. I've really kind of been a little bit on TikTok. TikTok is, booming right now. So, and it's very, for anybody that is out there doing content, everything, TikTok is booming and it's very easy to grow over there if you are consistent in posting. So, I've been focusing a little bit on the videos, that's going to keep growing. I'm focusing on putting out really good content and just improving overall as an artist and as a content creator, because that's my passion and I just want to keep going for it, and really chasing my dreams at this, because it's not a lot of times that people find things that they're actually really good at, but also truly enjoy doing and want to continue doing for years on. And it's not even just that, but this amazing community that we're a part of. Not a lot of people have that. So I definitely just want to keep going and spreading that kindness and showing people that there is so much to learn. We can do it together and grow together. And yeah, we'll see. We'll see what's next.
I think the sky's the limit.
Yeah.
It'll all be good. Anything that you do is going to be good. It's going to be special. So I'm super excited for the Patreon and just everything that you've got in store for us. Well, thanks so much, Meg, for joining us on the podcast today. We will share all of your links so that everyone can find you everywhere that you are on social media, that TikTok, Curious Crafters, the new Patreon. And of course, you can find Meg in our group as well. She is out there and loving it everywhere.
And that's something that's important to me, is being a part of the community, not just in my group, other groups. I used to, maybe not as much now, but I used to do live in so many different groups, and I still do live in other groups. I'm always willing and getting involved in the conventions and the virtual conventions. So yeah, you'll definitely see me doing tutorials and teaching.
Well, I can't wait. I can't wait for all of it. So thanks so much, Meg, and everybody. Tune in next week for another episode. Thank you all for joining us today, and we will talk to you soon.
Bye.
I know I am so excited to see what Meg has up her sleeve next. If you want to find her online, please check our show notes, and we'll make sure that you can find her everywhere that she's hanging out, including our group. And of course, most importantly, that new Patreon group she's got going with Sarah Pennell. Thanks for tuning in today to A Culture of Inspiration with me, Sarah Brown. I'd love to hear your feedback on ideas for the show. You can share that with me on any of our socials. We're at Counterculture DIY on Facebook, Insta, TikTok, and of course you can also find us at YouTube, Pinterest, and on our blog at counterculturediy.com. Don't forget to follow the podcast wherever you get your podcasts and join me for a new episode next week. Until then, keep creating.